3 cards for your energies in play today, Thursday, March 12th, and I'm using the Rider-Waite deck. Let's see what's up. First card, Justice reversed. I almost feel like I don't have to say anything about this card because you can almost feel the energy off of it. I talked a couple days ago about the rage I was feeling over circumstances in the world. You know that kind of pressure in your heart space or in your solar plexus right here where you just feel like everything is wrong and it's out of control, and there's just this helplessness because the world is so big and we are so small. That is what this card is saying to me this morning. That is that sense of moral betrayal, moral injury. It feels like we're in kind of an abusive relationship with the people in power right now. And we're getting to the point where we've had enough. Now, importantly, justice reversed is not justice denied. It can be simply justice delayed, or that there's an imbalance somewhere that has to be worked out before things can settle out where they should for the good of all concerned. But at the moment, we're stuck in this upside down position, and it's very difficult to move from here. You'll see that he's static. He is kind of immobilized between these pillars and stuck to the ceiling, as it were, since he's upside down. But he still holds that sort of truth in his hand, that sort of discernment that we were talking about yesterday with the Knight of Swords. And he has the scales of justice in his other hand. So this is not a doom and gloom card, but it does tell us that what we're feeling is legitimate, it is deserved, it's on point. And if we're smart about it, that energy is ours to use to try to correct the situation and turn this card the way it wants to be seen, which is upright. And one more energy that I'm feeling from this card, something we've been kind of pointing to all week, which is mismanagement of our internal justice. Are we judging ourselves too harshly? Are we judging someone else too harshly? And as a result, our inner world has become a little bit imbalanced or upside down. Have we had unfair expectations of others or situations that we find us in? So before we can move out into the world, it's often a good idea to look inward and ask yourself, okay, where is my sense of justice gotten a little bit askew or upended? And is that affecting the way I am seeing a situation or another person? All right, let's see what the second card has to say. And we've got the Hierophant for card number 2 today, and he is upright. Those of you on the spiritual path, it's time to pull out all of the techniques, all of the practices from your toolbox in order to address this reversed justice card. So if meditation is part of your practice, if mindfulness or practicing presence in the moment is part of the way you have traditionally addressed stressful situations, now's the time to look at those things. Double down on your meditation, double down on your yoga practice, do some spiritual reading. I'm in the yogic tradition, so the Bhagavad Gita, Patanjali's Yoga Sutras are always very nourishing to me. But you may be in some other tradition, and that's fine. Whatever spiritual study has traditionally served you in the past, this is a good time to reiterate your understanding of those principles. The Hierophant is a master of spiritual study, spiritual systems, and the dynamics therein. And so this tells me that we need to kind of return to the roots for this one, especially since we were talking about external events. There's been a lot of misinterpretation of spiritual texts in the world, not just recently, but at least for as long as I've been alive. I was having a conversation with someone where they were trying to repeat something that allegedly came from a spiritual text, not my tradition, a different one. And I said, how do you know that? Have you read it? And this person said, I heard somebody say that. And it's like, no. You need to go read the actual text before you start making accusations or drawing conclusions about ideas that you are hearing third hand. So back to the roots, back to our study, back to our practice in order to shore ourselves up as we go forward and address the issues in play. So to put it more simply, the solution to external injustice may begin with internal alignment. You can't fix the world's imbalances alone, but you can anchor yourself in those practices that restore your own sense of fairness and discernment. Let's see what card number 3 has to say. And for card number 3, we have the 8 of Wands, and it's reversed. This card just reinforces the idea that you have all the power you need. Wands, of course, are stored fire. You have everything you need, but something is out of alignment. That's what the reversal is telling me. And also, if you look at these 8 wands in the way they're depicted here, there's one that's a little shorter than the rest. So something has not been fully brought forth. There's some part of yourself, some talent, some aspect of your inner nature that hasn't been recruited into action yet. It's been latent. And so it's time to bring that to the fore. And you probably know what that is if you feel inside of yourself there's some part of yourself that you've been holding back. We've been talking about this for a few days now. It's going to require that last piece of you come into alignment in order for the whole thing to cohere and to be all of your rods moving in the same direction, so to speak. All of your cylinders firing, if I'm going to mix metaphors this morning, which I often do. 8 is a number of action and direction and focused movement. So when it's reversed like this, it's the same as this Justice reversed card. It's being delayed, it's being held back somehow. It's not quite ready to move into action yet, and it could be this internal misalignment that we spoke of in the previous card that needs to be addressed. So to sum up today's read, the Justice reversed names the problem. Something outside of you feels broken, unjust, or out of your control, and there's a frustration around that. The Hierophant is giving you the remedy. It's saying return to your spiritual practices, your roots, the things that you know have worked for you in the past. It's time to revisit those instead of letting them sort of lapse by the wayside. And then the 8 of Wands gives us the final piece. There's still something within you that has yet to be brought forward, some talent, some aspect of your persona that's just waiting to be called up. And as soon as that last wand slides into place, then you'll be ready to go. Some questions to sit with as you contemplate this. What feels like this shorter wand in your life right now? What is the latent thing that you know needs to come forward? And how might your spiritual practice, as represented by the Hierophant, give you a way to do that, assist you with this? And then finally, is there some specific area in your life where you feel the misalignment might be manifesting itself? Home, workplace, personal development, creative projects, things like that. So hopefully that gives you something to work with today. Like, follow, and share. See you tomorrow.